This is the Intex rectangular ultra XTR frame above ground pool. When you look at it, you can't miss the clean rectangular shape, 32 feet long, 16 feet across, and a solid 52 inches deep. It sits like a massive blue oasis right in the backyard. I never thought I'd actually own something like this, and to be completely honest, putting it up has probably been one of the wildest home projects I've attempted. Let me give you a quick review of what it feels like to take this giant project from boxes to a full-blown pool. If you're new to above-ground pools, I get it. Everything seems confusing at first. What drew me to this model, to be real, was those ultra extra words and the sheer size. My family's big into swim days, so having space mattered, but no one really warns you about how much work it is to level the ground for something this big. Getting the foundation flat is not just one of those boring, do-it-if-you-can steps. It actually determines whether the pool will sit right or just look lopsided and unstable. The manufacturer says it only takes about 90 minutes to set up with their easy lock system. Maybe someone with a perfectly level, prepared backyard and a dozen strong relatives could pull that off. But for me, that claim felt optimistic. It took my husband, my son, and me an entire day and then some. Trying to get the ground even was the trickiest part. We used sand to try and even things out, but it still ended up about 4 inches off level in one corner, and you can sort of see how the water lines up when it fills. The lowest side definitely holds more water, and while it isn't dangerous, it doesn't look quite as polished as the pristine ads. So for anyone without experience, prep work is really important, and I just wish I'd known it would matter this much. Once the frame is up, you really notice those key features that Intex promotes. The sturdy galvanized steel, the powder-coated frame, and the snap-together joints, which genuinely do make the process easier than trying to bolt things with tools. The liner itself is triple layered, so you don't feel nervous about random tears or punctures, which is something I always worried about with smaller, cheaper pools in the past. It feels thick and dependable. The sand filter pump stands out as well. In my opinion, having a sand filter rather than a regular cartridge filter is a huge plus. Sand filters last longer and keep the water so much cleaner. They even mention this hydroaeration technology, which basically means it adds tiny air bubbles to improve water clarity and freshness. The pump's 2,800 gallons per hour flow rate makes a noticeable difference. After letting it run for 8 hours a day, the water stayed clear, and that made swimming much more enjoyable. What I really like, now that it's up and running, is the size. With over 14,000 gallons of water, it never feels crowded, even when there are 5 or 6 people in it. I'd recommend this for anyone who's got a big family, hosts get-togethers, or just loves swimming laps. The rectangular shape lets you swim straight across for actual exercise, which is way better for adults than the smaller round pools. Plus, it just looks stylish in the backyard, with its gray graphite finish on the outside and blue tile print on the inside. The package includes some cool extras that make life easier. I didn't have to go hunting for a pool cover, ladder, or ground cloth. They came right in the box. The ladder feels sturdy and safe, especially with kids and older folks getting in and out. The floats in the cooler, honestly, are fun little details. The floating cooler surprised me. I tossed a few cold drinks in, and it tagged along wherever we drifted. Just a small touch that adds more fun to a lazy pool day. Of course, I had my hesitations, especially once I saw the weight listed. Over 500 pounds for the boxed set. Delivery is something to consider since regular shipping just doesn't cut it for this beast. You'll probably need a trucking company. Another point is, you absolutely need a flat, solid surface. The pool's liner, while durable, is vulnerable if it sits on rocks or uneven patches. And from my experience, I now know it could shorten the life of the pool if you skip this step. Maintenance hasn't been too much trouble so far, but I know it will take some effort. I use a pool net to snag any big leaves and run the pump daily, but I'm also looking into automatic vacuums just to make my life easier in the long run. From what I've heard, liners last between 8 and 10 years, if you're careful, but that's also with consistent cleaning. The set comes with a 2-year warranty on the liner, frame, and pump, which is reassuring, but I still plan to do my part with regular care. For anyone on a budget, the price is something to seriously think about. It is up there with the more premium above-ground pools, and that might be a stretch for some. But if you think of it as a long-term backyard investment, and you compare it to the cost of in-ground installation, it still feels pretty reasonable, especially considering what's included. In my opinion, the biggest lesson learned is to take the time on prep and follow the directions, especially on making the ground level. That fixes most of the issues you'll hear about from folks like me, who are eager but a little unprepared. Now that it's set up, it's totally changed how my family hangs out at home. And there's something about having your own pool, just steps away, that makes summer feel way more special. It's perfect for large families, pool parties, folks who want a stylish and actually functional pool, and anyone who wants to swim real laps. Kids and adults both love it. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone who can't commit to the maintenance or who doesn't have enough yard space or a flat spot for it. But if you do, you'll love having it for the season. From my experience, the Intex rectangular ultra extra frame above ground pool is a solid choice for anyone ready to commit to the process. It's a lot of work at first, a little intimidating with its size and setup, but once you're swimming and relaxing, maybe floating with a cold drink, you'll probably agree it's totally worth the effort. In conclusion, this pool has its challenges, mostly in setup and maintenance, but if you're prepared, it delivers everything it promises: space, style, strength, and summer fun. I will share detailed information about the Intex rectangular Ultra XTR frame above ground pool in the comments section, everyone. Thank you for watching.